How's it going? How's it going? Vocal warm-up. Otterlord, welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, it's Friday morning. What are we doing? We're writing code. And I really want to find an excuse to use Astro Actions, but I don't have an excuse. I'm working on a static site throughout this stream, and I'm telling myself it's probably best to keep finishing this website so we can put it behind us. And then we can go build more stupid stuff that might be server-driven. But, yeah, server actions are a thing in Astro now. I don't know if we should... They're called Astro Actions. We didn't use the name server actions because people are going to confuse that with React, probably. But Astro Actions, they're live. Otterlord, you obviously know that. And I'm actually watching a Coding in Public video. Our boy, Chris Pennington. He's checking it out. Do y'all want to just watch it with me? At least leave commentary. I'm assuming it's just going to be super... it's actually going to work. Because it's not a live stream where he's suffering and trying to get the APS to work for the first time. Yeah, well, take it off your watch list, because let's just watch it. Why not? Why not? Let's warm up a little bit, and then we'll get into some code. How about that? How about that? I think I have all of my streams set up where you can hear it. Let me see. Yes, it is. I think in the VOD, it will delete the audio because I set up screen capture to remove, because copyright music on YouTube. Had not considered browser audio in that. I was just very draconian with it. So I'll turn on closed captioning. How about that? And we'll try to pause. We'll try to do other things. Oh, the closed captioning is kind of small. How do I make it big? Can I just do that? No. Well, that's the size you get. Sorry. But yeah, let's at least watch. Let's see what this man is doing with server actions. And I'll turn down the music just a touch. Just a touch. Let's see it. Ooh, okay. All right, he's got some good demonstrations in here. First off, he's got a Boolean. I wanted someone to try out checkbox values. because we have a nice way to just convert that to a Boolean for you. That's cool. Also, enums. I haven't even tested enums. I hope they work. They're supposed to, but I don't know. Okay. 5. So yeah, Boolean, let's go. That's cool that you can just plop a TypeScript interface in there and kind of just refactor it into Zod with just adding the word Z, and you're done. Pretty nice. Hadn't considered that refactor, but that's sweet. I assume these work, otherwise he wouldn't be making a video showing off enums. So that's good. It is kind of annoying that the red squiggles take over the entire definition, but there's really not much we can do. We can't make handler optional. So, yeah, just a little quality of life thing. I don't know. What'd you miss? Well, you're going to learn it right now. Our man over on the Coding in Public channel is trying out Astro Actions. That's the biggest update in there. Rewrite, though, that is definitely going to go under the radar for some people. But it casually solves the 404 redirect problem that Astro has. If you have a server endpoint and you want to say, hey, you sent me a query param and that doesn't exist, and I want to return a 404. It wasn't very easy in Astro before, but now there's this cool little API that can say, like, if the entry ain't real and you're on a server rendered page, you could say return astro.rewrite to 404. And what's the difference between that and a redirect? Well, first off, you're not going to get the extra entry in the browser, so you won't accidentally hit back and then redirect where you were, hit back, redirect where you were. Have you ever been on websites like that, where you try to hit the back button and you just can't escape? So you have to hit back like 5 times just to outpace the redirect. It's such a mess. But with rewrite, you can, instead of redirecting them to a 404 page, you can rewrite the URL to be 404 and render the 404 component that you might have. And before, you might have done like an if statement and import a 404 component. You don't have to do that anymore. You can have a 404.astro in your pages, and you can rewrite to that 404 if you ever need to reference it. That is so good. It's not the demo that's in the docs, though, so people aren't going to discover this. I'm going to shout at them and say, no, make 404 the first example in every documentation page for rewrite, because that is the biggest reason I would use this. It's the biggest reason I would use it. You could also do it for fancy middleware stuff, but I don't worry about it. I have an Astro app that does the check and redirects to 404, so it's actually, oh, yeah. Exactly. You don't have to redirect. It won't be in the browser history anymore. It rewrites and handles it correctly. It's great. But anyways, this video we're watching is a first look at Astro Actions from Chris Pennington, who's a great YouTuber. And they're kicking the tires on some stuff I hadn't even tested, like using enums to validate forms. And it happens to work. I'm glad it was designed to. But you can see right here, we're making a little shopping form where you're taking a first name, last name, subscribe to newsletter, blah, blah, blah. And you can create a Zod object right here, and it'll auto-convert the form data to an object. And it'll handle booleans, it'll handle enums, it'll handle all the magic stuff you might need. And order will be a type-safe object instead of form data, which is so great. And if you omit the input, form data comes through here. So if you wanted to use something that's not Zod, or you just don't want to validate with an object, that's chill. You can just delete input and take the raw form data object to do what you will. So it's very flexible. We had some people saying, what about valbot? What about yup? I get it. You can use that. But for the first party error banners and stuff like that, you'll want to use a little Z object. Cool. Okay. He's also using a client-side fetch, which is just the most streamlined example. I'm really happy he's using a script tag to override the form event, because we don't even have to talk about client-side components. We can just talk about scripting. So great. And it shows how the old JSON method kind of sucked, and we can make it better. That's exactly what I want. Cool. Yep. Notice the auto import was just one suggestion. That's because we named things just so you don't get duplicate suggestions to the wrong file. Feel good about that. So just like using vvalidate, I don't know what that is. React hook form, it works great with React hook form. But since it's static, it does that classic way. Did I understand that? Since it's static, you mean... But since it's static, it does that the classic way. I don't know what the classic way means. If the classic way means client JavaScript, yes. Static website, not SPA. Well, he's doing a client-side fetch here. So he's not re-rendering the whole page and doing a server-side post. He's not doing that. He is doing client-side JS, so it's SPA-like, if that makes any sense. We'll continue on here. And yeah, you can just pass form data straight into the order. Riz. Yep. Oh, that's so cool. Wait, that is so cool. Robotica, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good morning. We just appreciate that. But this is cool with the console ninja, where he submitted something in his browser and immediately got the console log right here just to debug whether the thank you message came back. I'm gonna try that. That's really cool. That is really freaking cool. Feed validate just to yeah, like... Okay, thank you. It's like React hook form for Vue. That's helpful. Yeah, you could use that for Vue. I'm assuming. I haven't tried it. But I know with React hook form, they have this Zod validator. So you could say like React hook form Zod. Yeah, something like this. This is probably a person's blog post. Yeah. Sorry about the light mode. I'll do something. I'll do something for you. There you go. So here we have the types file. Blah, 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 blah. Where is Zod used? Show me code example. I think there was a how to integrate. There we are. Yeah, you could pass in something like this, and you could export it from your actions file, import it into your client code. We don't ship Zod into the browser, so don't worry about that. We don't ship your Zod schema into client code, because that can be heavy. But if you want to do that, you can do this part right here. You can take that Z object, and you can import it into React hook form and just kind of plug it in. Take that Zod resolver, wrap it around the same exact input, and it should work, from my understanding. I don't know how they handle booleans. I know that numbers work, though. So if you have, like, z.number in your validator, it works in Astro, and it works in React hook form, as you expect. So, really nice experience there. Yeah. Yeah. Sick. Nice. Nice, nice. I'm glad that's pretty readable. I think we can do better with this error message. And sorry, my whiteboard is in the way of this error right here that he's getting. Let me zoom in. Can I zoom? Yes. So by default, when you call an action, it's going to throw. And that was a choice. We think the happy path should be just call the function. You shouldn't have to handle data and error as like a union type. It should just give you the thing. But yeah, if it fails to validate, it'll throw, but there's a nice way to catch it without having to do a try-catch loop. So you see here, failed to validate, and this stack trace is not beautiful. I would like the error message to just appear here. I think we can format the error a little bit better than we're doing right now. Something with like a toString that's actually nice. I think our toString is just this garbage message. We could do better. I think with booleans, you will have to dot parse them first. Coerce, not parse. Oh, coerce. Yeah. You might have to do that with, what am I thinking of? React hook form. You don't have to coerce with Astro, though. We're smart enough to use formData.has to check if it has the property whenever you use .boolean. So there's no coercing necessary. And I've seen that with a few libraries where they check, is the value the string yes or the string on? That means it's probably a Boolean. That's very error-prone. Don't assume that the word on or the word yes must be a Boolean, because someone could type the word yes in an input, and that would parse incorrectly. So that doesn't make sense to me. we should use the actual form data properties to check if something is present. So when you use z.boolean, it's checking if that value is present. So you don't have to coerce anything. Now with React hook form, v-validate, maybe you do. And I hope coerce works correctly. I think it will. Yeah. Yeah, you could use email. Cool, cool. Yeah, I mean, that's not necessary if you make it required, which it is by default with Zod. So, yeah, I mean, this is just a demonstration, but there's no need to have a min. Also, don't put a max length on first and last name. Just a usability standpoint, people can have very long last names for sure, and first names. There are dashes, there are suffixes, prefixes, all sorts of cultures. I would not put any restrictions on first and last name, I don't think. Unless there's something in your server where it has to be less than 255 characters. But even then, it's an issue. Did anyone watch Zach and Cody? I might be in the wrong generation for some people in this audience, but I think about Esteban. Does anyone know Esteban from Zach and Cody? I don't know. But he was the bellhop on the show, and I forgot his descent. He might have been Venezuelan or something, but his last name was just this super long phrase, and it was so funny every time it came up because he would announce his name. Like, why would you do this to Esteban? I remember the last part of the name, but nothing else. And I think, wow, if he had to write out his last name, it would be more than 30 characters. He would fail to validate this form. Also, just one second. I noticed he has these icons, which look beautiful. But look at this. His Astro config has a different icon. That's cool. Mine just says JS file. It doesn't even recognize Astro. I wonder what he's using for his icon pack. Reminds me of Leon. I don't know that one, but that's hilarious. Okay, yep. And you don't have to do any of that finesse. You don't need any of that finesse. Yep. Yep, new order. Throw down. Now, some people might be thinking, this could be unsafe. New order might have properties that aren't listed. But here's the thing. Your object is actually instructions to go get properties out of form data. So if there are other properties in the form data that aren't represented in this schema, they just won't come through. So you don't have to worry about properties in form data that are, invisible and are wreaking havoc on your database, because we're using these to go get values out of form data, if that makes any sense. We're not using object from entries or something. So if there are malicious values in the form data, they just won't exist in the response, which is how you would expect it. You don't have to do .strict or anything. They just won't exist. So this right here is actually safe. This is safe to do. Now, if you're doing JSON, malicious objects might come through. I think with Zod, you have to use .strict. And let me check on that. Because they let objects pass through by default. This is really nuanced. My stream is for all the nerds that actually want to get nuanced. But yeah, you might need to add this property to your schema if you're not using form data. If you're not using form data, you need this because it'll say, yeah, see, by default, they strip unrecognized keys. You can disallow unknown keys. Okay, cool. So it's stripped, but this is going to throw. If there are any unknown keys, Zob will throw an error. Okay, interesting. So they do strip unrecognized keys, though. So you actually don't need to add .strict to avoid it. This is just throwing. So if you need to handle malicious requests, this is a way to really aggressively handle them. But I didn't know they stripped out unrecognized keys. Okay, so we're good no matter what. Thank you, Zod. That's great. And that's also another reason to use Zod instead of a TypeScript type. Because I know with React, you can just accept JSON from a server action and write a little TypeScript type, and you're done. But all sorts of BS can come down the wire. If you use a TypeScript type, you're just hoping that it matches, but you have no idea. Zod is actually going to check at runtime to make sure it is the type that you expect. So that's why Zod is like this first-class citizen here. If we just use TypeScript types, it might be easier for some people, but it would not protect you at all. So I'm pretty happy with what we did. But with this, the creator of the name had a stroke. My second name, it's a city in Scandinavia. Good guess. It's the name of a small Oh, yeah. Okay, that's ringing a bell for me. Oh, a volcano with a strange name. There's so many examples of this. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah, a little SVG with color switch. That's pretty cool. I mean, you couldn't do this with actual apparel. Maybe you could use CSS filters, but you probably want photos of your actual shirt if you're selling a shirt. But I love nerding out over SVGs. Hey, look at that. All right, cool. I was worried he would just leave it at the throwing and he wouldn't actually try to parse error messages, but... Yep. And we were aggressive with this because I know with Zod, you can't destructure. You actually have to check if res.success, and then you can access data. And that's just so annoying to do. It's so annoying. So we decided, hey, let's do a union object. If there's data, guaranteed there's no error. If there's an error, guaranteed there's no data. So now you can destructure, kind of like React Query. I think it's like React Query. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah. If data. Yeah. Yeah. Form reset makes sense. Yep. Yeah, let's start there. That's fine. Cool. He does have to refresh, though. This is where I would probably use... And this is an API that people don't know about, but they absolutely should. There's this little function called navigate. And I don't know if we even document it. Do we document it? Because I've been using this all the time, because I just found it in the source code. I just found it. Is there a way? Yeah, look at this. There's a method called navigate in Astro. It works exactly like Remix or Next.js. You can call this function, and it will client-side update the page with the next page. So instead of refreshing the whole window with window.location, you can call .navigate with wherever you want to go. You can even pass form data if you want to, but you won't need to. So in his case, he can navigate to the current page, and it would refresh with client.js, so it looks really nice, with the new data. So I would probably call navigate window.location, and then you would get this really snappy experience. So it's doing a navigation like a spot. Exactly. If that's your intent, I would just call navigate current page, and that'll be a client refresh, and it'll look real nice. Yeah, so I hate how he has to say, I promise there's more details. We can do better. We can do better. I think that's a good comment to make validate actually show the validation error if it just throws. We should do that. Yeah. I was really proud of this, and I'll show you why. Well, he's going to show you why. Look at this. Do you see that? Just by doing a little type check on is input error, you get all of the fields that might have errored. This was harder to do than you might think. It involves a lot of trickery with TypeScript generics and stuff that I'm just not going to explain. It's too deep even for this stream. But you can see right there, this is why Zod is built in. This is the main reason. I know I listed other reasons, but this is the main reason. We wanted it to infer all the error information from the input to the form. So even though it takes in form data up here, which is untyped, it still keeps track of all of the expected fields as a generic. So when you call isInputError and it checks that it actually is an input error object, it gives you this beautiful field with all of the actual error messages. So you can check for each individual one, show error banners, have fun with it, whatever you want to do. And it's a little bit cleaner than how Zod does it. Yep. Error.fields. Look at that. See? Look at that. Isn't that great? Yeah. So now you get this object, and if there's an error for a given field, it'll list it out right here. The annoying part is it is an array. This is something Zod does, so you have to, like, you know, say, oh, it could be an array of messages, so I have to call toString or something like that. But it's good enough. It's good enough. Labeled by the input, see that? You got the first and last name. Pretty cool. How could you use this? Well, you can do all sorts of things, man. Yep. Yeah, I would definitely, if you care about the errors at all, I would use .safe. I would never use a try catch because it's just annoying. The only reason you might want it is you call an action really, really deep in a function, and instead of returning the errors all the way up, you just wrap try catch around this big code block. I'm imagining something, of course. But if you have a code block that calls an action like 5 levels deep, try catch might be a little bit easier, but because it hoists all the way up, but you know. Yeah, plug. We're already going to be in an Astro course. It's been 2 days. I'll take it, though. Yeah, let's see what the comments are. None. You guys simplified your code so much. Made a couple notes on what we can improve. I don't, were there any other notes? I think the failed to validate message could be better. Was there anything else? Was there anything else in this demo? I'm tracking other things, but I don't know if there was anything else in this demo. I think everything else worked how I was hoping it would. I think it clicked how I hoped it would. Muleman, what's up? We're checking out our boy Chris Painting. Yes, I will share a link, absolutely. Trying out Astro Actions for the first time. It's a great little video. And runs through all the stuff I was hoping people would demo, which is great. Yep. Cool. Coding in public is great. I agree. And yes, I will have my own Astro Actions video. I am making it a much bigger video, and I want to do it for the stable release instead of an early experimental look, because I know some things that we're probably going to fix, improve, and I do want to leave a little time for just everything to settle down. But yeah, we will have a stable release pretty soon. That's the goal. I won't say any exact dates, but I am planning like in a month-ish to have like a full-on let's try Astro Actions, and we'll make it theatrical. We'll include some, you know, cold opens, maybe shooting some shots at server actions in React, maybe a little bit of that. But I want it to be like a big event. I want it to be fun, and I'm also trying to get a sponsor for it. So It should be good. But this is a great video that I can point people to in the meantime, because that was awesome. That was awesome. That's everything that I wanted to see. So I'm glad it's working. I'm glad it's working for people. And I'll admit, one of the examples that he did on a live stream inspired the test cases that we wrote. He was building a like button, and he spent so long setting up a fetch call and a JSON endpoint and gating against all the JSON values. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's a like button. All you should have to do is have on-click, like. And then the back end says post ID, insert like into database, done. That's all it should do. It shouldn't have to parse anything else. You shouldn't have weird, is this JSON? Did we accept the right header? Like, none of that should matter. You should be writing your stuff. This is stupid. So we have a like button test. And it works. It works pretty well for that use case as well. Of course, if you do on-click, there's no progressive enhancement, but who cares? People care too much about progressive enhancement. We support it fully. But for certain things, like just a button press, you don't need progressive enhancement. Just do it on-click, man. You don't need to server render every blog post just for the likes to be progressively enhanced. You don't need it. Hot take. Hot take. We overprescribe progressive enhancement. I think for this form he did, a little progressive enhancement sauce would be good. It would be a pretty good addition. Not needed, but it would be a pretty good addition for this. But for a like button, like, not necessary. That's why we have a JSON version of the API. That's why JSON's actually the default. Because, you know, if you just want to call it from a component, send JSON, get JSON back, it should be easy. You shouldn't have to go through a form data pipe every time. JSON should work how you expect it to. I'll actually I'll take a shot at Mr. Fred K. Shot, because originally he was pushing to only support JSON and not support form data at all. Can you imagine? No form data support? I actually had to fight. I had to fight pretty hard to support form data at all. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised this is such a tough argument to make. I thought we would all be on board with form data, and he was not on board. I just don't get it. And there's so many areas in studio.astro.build where we are taking form data and parsing it to JSON just to work with TRPC. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It would simplify the code a ton. I'm honestly thinking about refactoring Studio, because this is an Astro app. I'm thinking about refactoring Studio to use Astro Actions instead of TRPC. Just to see what happens, you know? I think React 19 is what we need for everything to come together, because this is a big old React spa. But once we have everything we need, I think Astro Studio can just run on actions, and we can be done. Yeah, glad you did. I'm glad I did as well. I think form data is what most people want, and it was really weird that he was thinking, no, you always want to parse the JSON. Why do people care about that? Now, the argument, which I agree with, was progressive enhancement doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to work in every use case, but Astro cares a lot about using browser defaults, so progressive enhancement had to happen. But there's a difference between, you know, like not supporting progressive enhancement at launch. I didn't let it happen, but it could have slipped. Not supporting form data, that's a different story. Because here, notice, he didn't enhance anything. He was just writing a client-side script to use all the data. But if we forced him to use JSON, this demo would have sucked so much more. It would have been awful. It would have made no sense. Astro Studio is going to get jacked. Yes, it is. So yeah, even if we're throwing away progressive enhancement, it makes absolutely no sense. I'm reposting that. It's a great video. It would have made no sense. It would have been really awkward to use. Okay. Great video. Again, great video. Now let's get back to building this stupid website. I'm tired of this thing. I'm tired of staring at this. I loved working on it, but I'm starting to get a little tired. This happens at the finish line of any good project. Thank you, Hayden. Yes, I will put your name on the whiteboard. No problem. Pull that in a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Mr. CEO of HTML, no form data? I know. I don't think he's a real CEO of HTML. I think he's an imposter. I think he's an imposter. There you are. Username. I didn't want to say username. I just wanted to keep it to this because you own this namespace. Over here, you own the namespace. We're keeping it simple. Also, I was hitting a really crazy bug in Safari, and I realized we were on Astro 2.3 or 3.2. We were on a version of Astro from like 6 months ago. It was also the reason our dev tools broke every time we refreshed the page. I bumped up to the latest version of Astro, and all of a sudden, my problems are gone. And it was a major version. I didn't even notice. That's how great Astro major changes are. Yeah, 2.3 would have been crazy. No, wipertheweb.dev, this was on 1.6 for the longest time, and I finally bumped it to 4.0. Guess what? No breaking changes. I didn't have to do anything. I went from 1 dot something to 4 dot something, and nothing broke. This website, I went from 3 to 4, and bugs were fixed, and nothing else broke. How great is that? For a young project, it's kind of crazy that you can bump major versions, and not only is your code fine, but edge cases are fixed. Kind of nice. Sometimes updates do be great. They do be. Could I get help with an Astro question? Okay, might steer you to support, but we will try here. I'm trying to create a portfolio with Astro, and I can't understand how to re-render a component when I'm navigating to another page and back. Interesting. Okay. There's a few things I need to tease out of this question. So you're re-rendering a component when you navigate to another page and back again. So are you saying that the component does not re-render when you go back to that page? Because if so, I guess you're using view transitions. Am I right about that? You're using view transitions? Because if you aren't, I don't understand. It will re-render if you are just using Astro in the raw. If you're using view transitions, it might be, yes, it might be that the component doesn't remount how you expect it to. I would think that the component restarts. I would think that it does. Are you using transition persist, perhaps? Or do you even know what that is? I happen to have the view transition docs pulled up here. By the way, these docs are sprawling. I think we should, move these to an API reference or something, because my God, this is a monolithic page. I think we can simplify this page a bit. This looks like a Metroid map. There is so much to navigate. I just don't know where to go first. But yeah, script re-execution, this matters. Bundle module scripts, which are defaulted, are only executed once. This is the issue, I think. After initial execution, they will be ignored, even if the script exists on the new page. Unlike bundle, inline scripts have the potential to be re-executed. That's not going to work for you. We can't do that. Okay, so you can do this. I don't know if you can do this to a component, though. Let me see here. I just had the view transition. Yeah, you just did a thing, and you thought it would work, and it didn't. Makes sense to me. So, why have I not run into this? I know that this matters to force inline scripts to re-execute after every transition. Oh, wait. Why don't they? Okay. Maybe you want to put this data attribute on the root element of your component. I don't know. I really don't know. Why haven't I run into this before? I feel like I would have hit this. I feel like I would have. But for whatever reason, I haven't hit this yet. So there's that. There's this data attribute, data Astro. Sorry, I scrolled away. Data Astro rerun. You might want that on the outermost element in your component. And if not, make a div wrapping around your component and put this data attribute on it. I don't know if that's going to work, but maybe. Maybe. I don't know. There might be, yeah, how do you force a component to re-render? I don't know. Anyone in the chat have ideas? Otherwise, I will say go to astro.build/chat. I know, I'm taking you to a support forum, but trust me, there's real humans over there that know this stuff better than me. So go over there and go to the support channel and ask the question exactly how you phrased it and say, I'm using view transitions. And people will know. But my first guess is that data Astro rerun attribute. That might work. I have no idea, though. I do not know. All right, I'm moving along here. Not the support forum. Hey, it's not a helpline. It's people that nerd out about Astro, and you're just going into the nerd den and asking a question into the void. It works. Okay. So, where were we? We had an about page. We got it working. It looked nice. And off cam, I did some mining off cam. I figured out how to do this little pop-up. And it mostly works. You can also see it's keyboard navigable. So if I can't highlight the whiteboard. It's not selectable. I didn't think of that. I'm an idiot. But you can see right here, it does focus the close button. So if you hit enter, it takes you right back. That's accessible design. And it will trigger the animation on start, and it'll reset the form on close. Kind of cool. My only problem with it is we're using a scale transition. So on my phone, it looked a little choppy. It had some aliasing on the guy. It didn't look perfect, which is me being an absolute perfectionist. But I was like, this could look a little bit better. I think it's good though. I think it's good. It's not modally, no. Because doing a modal would have been a lot harder. It would have been a lot harder. Because here I'm taking the same element and I'm scaling it up when you click on it. That way we don't have to like have an old HTML and a new HTML and view transition between them. Because that's such a mess. That is such a mess to do. And then wrapping it with a dialogue only on mobile and tracking the open state. It was like, God, this is going to suck. Is it worth it? I think I can just, do the keyboard navigation, make sure my tab indexes are correct, and call it a day. And I think that's still the route that makes sense. I think that's still the route. So it is opening modally, but hand-rolled. You know what I mean? But yeah, on a phone, I mean, look at this. This is pretty good. It's pretty good. So if I'm over here, focus on phone, yes, you can see the little whiteboard over there, and I can click it. I can't really tell. Am I clicking on the right? Come on. I can't tell what I'm clicking on. Okay. But yeah, if you click on it, it opens up the little guy, and you can finger paint all you want. Then if you hit close, it takes you right back. So it looks good on a phone. And now that I updated to 4. Whatever, it seems to be a little bit smoother, which is great. There is a flash of unstyled content, though. There's a flash of unstyled content if I go back to the homepage. Come on. I'm trying to use the camera to figure out what I'm clicking on. Please. Oh my God. Why can I not just be human? I swear, there's a flash of white when I go back to the homepage, and I need to figure out why that is. It's just something to do with too much CSS. I just have too much CSS, and it flashes. I don't know. It's kind of a problem. But I do need to figure out, why do I get a flash? That's not good. I don't like it. It's bad. In general, it looks good. But yeah, I'm upset that there's a little flash of unstyled content. It's not what I want to see. In general, though, the website looks good on a phone. It looks pretty handsome on a phone. Yeah, and there is a little jump. There is a little layout shift for the nav, and I don't know why that is, but it happens. B. Holmes beta Zuckerberg. That's offensive. That is straight offensive. One step from a ban. Get out of here with that Zuck energy. You're using it as a static website? It is a static website. We're using view transitions, so it does a little JavaScript, but yeah. Are any meta frameworks? Yeah, it's Astro. It's Astro, baby. Always Astro. There's never an excuse. Well, at this point, I've already built my own website builder. I've already done it raw with HTML, so I feel like my rite of passage is complete. I don't have to do it again. I don't have to do it again. Was asking Max Cal, I don't know what that means, since he asked for help. Oh, sorry. I missed his comment. Hey guys, what about caching? What about caching? Unnecessary request to the DB. You gotta add some cache headers, my dude. You need some cache headers. Get them cache headers on your site. If you mean caching in development, we unfortunately do not have a first-party solution to cache in development. But if you're talking about caching and prod, we absolutely do have some stuff. So ISR is a thing. Don't worry about that. I'm working with Svelte, so thinking about using TanStack to avoid this problem. That's going to be heavy. That's going to be quite the learning journey. You might want to stick with SvelteKit if you're going to go down that road. I know, the Astro guy telling you to stay in Svelte. But honestly, yes, if you're considering TanStack, you are about to go down a very deep rabbit hole of tech. And I'm just warning you ahead of time. That will be a lot of setup. But I was wondering if there is a way to get it to work in Astro. Fetch data in an Astro component and then passing it to the component. I don't fully understand the use case. Syncity stands, yes. I don't fully understand the use case, but there is a way to fetch in an Astro component and pass down. Are you a nerd that knows about React.cache? Is that kind of what you're talking about? Because I do need to understand the full use case. I'll at least say if you're talking about caching pages or caching endpoint results, you have access to Astro. You can literally just you can just set a cache header. Like, you can just do this. You can just do this. We don't have any first-party things, but you can just set a cache header. And we do have, you can go to the MDN docs, not to be dismissive, but you can just set a cache header. And set the age, and you good. And that should cache results on an endpoint or something else like that. Just set a cache control, deploy to a server, and you're rocking and rolling with some cache DB results. That should work. Strange tack to use Astro with Svelte. I think enough people use it. I've done it. It's pretty fun. I think our swag store uses Svelte with Astro. I would personally use the Svelte kit. Yeah, fair enough. There are a way to cache pages with cache headers. Yeah, just use a cache header, and that should work. Yeah, totally go try that. And to cache client side requests, the easiest path. Yeah, if you're trying to do a bunch of client side stuff and you want to cache between navigations, yeah, TanStack queries where you're going to get deep in the sauce. But just caching pages and caching endpoint results, that's a good place to start before you add complexity. Another question, what do you use to export const pre-render? Do you use it? Yeah, I use it. It really depends, obviously, on what you're trying to do. If you do pre-render, that's going to flatten it to an HTML pancake. So we will build the page, and it will not ship a runtime. So if I made this a server, if I made my personal site a server, I could individually choose which pages to pre-render. Right now, I'm using static, which means every page is pre-rendered. Everything is a .html file. But you can decide, hey, I actually want individual pages to not be an HTML file. Well, for that, you can add output hybrid right here. Output hybrid. And this will say everything is pre-rendered by default. Everything is HTML. But you can say pre-render false on individual pages to turn them into server requests or server handlers. You can also go the other way. This is a little confusing, but you could say server, and that flips everything to be server rendered, and you can pre-render individually. So this is opt-in to server rendering. This is opt-out of server rendering. I like to use hybrid in all cases because that mirrors what Next.js is doing, where everything is pre-rendered by default, and you can choose which pages aren't pre-rendered. I run in quotes because it's not the TRPC itself. The best use of TanStack query for me was building my own TRPC. Of course you built your own TRPC. I could tell you were a nerd when you walked in the door. Does the fetch to the backend with either use mutation or use query? Yeah, you could. You please to use? I don't understand that question. But yeah, we actually use that for all of Astro Studio. This, where we deploy databases and stuff, this whole thing is built with React and TRPC inside of Astro. We built a big old React spa with TRPC, and that is how all of Astro Studio works. At this point, Astro kind of has TRPC at home, so it's worth trying instead of using TRPC. I don't know if you missed it, but there is a really, really cool feature in Astro that helps you make endpoints that don't suck, and it's called Astro Actions. This helps you define backend endpoints. Instead of doing REST calls, this lets you create a handler with input validation and everything you could ever want. JSON or form data. It's freaking awesome. So if you want to make endpoints in Astro, it's never been easier. It is so freaking nice at this point. You don't even need TRPC if you're using this. That's my opinion. It's early, though. It's experimental. Things might change, blah, blah, blah. But you're a nerd, so I feel like I can talk about the bleeding edge. That's really cool. Yeah, yeah. We are building a monolith. Yes, we are. Okay, so what do I want to do with this website? I've got 52 minutes until my meeting. 52 minutes. What do we do with 52 minutes? That's so long. Well, the mobile view looks great now. I don't think there's anything else to do there. I do want to just completely rewrite the About Me section, but I don't know if y'all are here to watch me write poetic, you know, wax poetic. I think that's the way to say it. I think we're just here to play with stuff. So how do I nerd? It's something you're born with. I don't know, man. Something you're born with. Okay, so what do we want to do here? We have our blog post. I think there was one thing missing on the blog, actually, that mattered a little bit. Ooh, it kind of unrenders when I scroll. That tells me there might be a little bit too much CSS on the page. I'm not sure. Kind of weird. Kind of weird that things are unrendering there, but we'll continue on, assuming that that's not an issue. It might be an issue with filters on this, but I don't think so. I don't think it's an issue. I really don't know. Our blog homepage obviously needs some love. And we also need to import some blog posts to actually fill this thing out. So maybe that's what we do. Let's do that. I think I have another copy of bhomes dev. Open. We are looking for bhomes dev right here. Nope, this is a really old draft. Ooh, let's look at some old code that we wrote a year ago, maybe? Oh yeah, look at us. We were using some Atom. We were using Astro components. I don't know what we were doing. Oh yeah, we were porting some code for sure. For sure. We were just gunslinging script tags. That's always a good time. We made a Markdown component. Oh, look at us getting creative. Just making a Markdown component. That's so extra. Why did we do this? This is dumb. Whoa, we had our own page transition library because view transitions weren't here yet. Oh man, this is an old branch. When was the last commit to this? Does it tell me? 2 years ago. 2 years ago we wrote this. Whoo, man. We were writing our own framework. I'm glad we stopped. I'm glad we didn't keep going. Let's switch over to the main branch. Yep. And we'll check out some of these blog posts. This is the old build. Look at this. This is 11. We have underscore data, underscore includes. What a time. What a time to be alive. We had pug. Oh, we wrote pug. Look at that pug right there. That's some crazy pug. Jeez. Intense. Look at that. Embedding the number of posts. Sorted post dot length. Strong equals. Pug is weird as frick. It is such a strange framework. Okay. But the only reason I'm here is to copy paste some blog post. CSS variables are super powerful. How you can sort of write Sass mixins instead of plain CSS. I don't even know if I want to port this blog post. I want to delete this from the internet. Let's find a blog post we don't want to delete. Oh yeah, this is an old take. This is an old take. How CSS frameworks empower you, not control you. Gross. This was me thinking I knew everything back in college. Most of these blog posts are from my college days. Make an animation carousel the easy way with Svelte. I was on a Svelte kick. I was really on a Svelte kick. Oh, man. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Ooh, we have Cloudinary URLs. We've uploaded the Cloudinary. That's pretty smart. That is pretty smart. I don't think we need it anymore. I also don't know if animated GIFs get optimized by Astro. Maybe they do. Pug and Astro win! Where is Pug? Justice for Pug! Free Pug! Free him! Okay, I'm also using a bit of a mismatch. Okay, I was using Markdoc just to make sure things worked. And I was using Markdown here. I can't decide if I want to use just plain Markdown or if I want to use Markdoc. I have no idea what I want to do. I have a feeling MDX is the smart way to go. Markdoc is just something I want to use just to say I'm using it, even though we don't need it. But you can see there's like no syntax highlighting or anything. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. We don't have any of this set up. we might have like an embed component. Let me go back to the pug. And I think we have some like crazy snippets that might migrate pretty well. There are some code sandboxes or code pens, actually. I think there's an article on CSS Grid. Let me look at this. Did we use Gridazzle? Disgusting. Okay. Yep, there we go. We have a short code for CodePen. I was thinking Markdoc just to make this migration path a little bit better. I think it will work if we do that. So let's take this concrete examples of CSS Grid. True story, I don't really use CSS Grid that much. I use it sometimes, but I was hoping to use CSS Grid more than I do, and I'm not alone in that. I just don't use it enough. I use Grid on this website for sure, but I still use Flexbox for most things because it's easier to think about, and I'm not alone in that. It might mean some extra divs, but who cares? Who cares? Okay, so we have a blog. What do we call this thing? This is such a long URL. This is not how you should do things. But SEO, I have to keep it. I can't change the URL. Can you do components that are specific to one post in Markdoc? Nope, you can't. It has to be global. That is just how Markdoc works. We could have, in the original build, did let you pass them individually, like at the call site. And then I learned how their language tools are going to work. And then I realized build time validation was a thing. And I decided, okay, this is an absolute mess. This is an absolute mess. If we want language tools and we want to validate that all your components actually work, we need a global Markdoc config. It was going to be too messy if we let you do everything. So yes, it's annoying that it's global, but your editor tooling will thank you. And I think that's worthwhile. And also your validation will help you. Guess I'm sticking with MDX. You see, that's what I hate. If it makes you not try Markdoc, then I've not done my job. That's the truth. But it's annoying because this is the best experience to have editor tooling and to make sure at build time that all your components actually render correctly. But correctness sometimes isn't the only thing that matters. Sometimes you want to pass a component as a prop and you want it to just work. And we can totally do it if we just change how all of this works. I want auto-completion. I want everything. And I can't have it. So maybe we need to allow both. I don't know. The problem is Markdoc is such a small user base. There's just not a lot of motivation to change how it works. There's not a lot of motivation. So I don't know what to do. But I do know, at least in my case, I want a CodePen component, and I want it to work everywhere. So I am in the right user base for this sort of thing. It will work for me. It works on my machine. So we'll at least trudge on with the APIs we have today. Turn this off. Yeah. Okay. And we're looking for editor tooling. And I reworked the docs a little bit to make sure everything is front and center. There we go. So we need a markdoc config.json if we want to do this. And this is annoying that you have an MJS and a JSON, but whatever. ID, it's really dumb that you need that. This all works. Cool. So in a perfect world, this will give you editor tooling, but I don't know for sure. If we need to render components, you do this kind of thing. So you say tags, we need a CodePen, and this is going to render component. And yeah, it is annoying that you don't just import everything. There was a reason for this, and I think it was to make Starlight work as expected. But yeah, you don't get any auto-completion for this, but it'll at the very least work. Ugh. Markdoc is a weird beast. Don't want to BEM name all my demo components, like CSS positioning header demo 1. Definitely don't BEM. If you have to BEM, you have lost the battle. But yeah, if you have demo components, you'll be fighting namespacing, but I don't think it'll be the end of the world. I don't know. People love co-location, though. You want to co-locate the component next to the MDX file. Most people want to do that. And in MDX, you can just import straight into the document. You don't even have to pass down from the top level. It's nice. It is nice. It's tempting. I feel like MDX is still what most people actually want. The reason Markdoc is good, it's way faster. The compile times are stupidly fast compared to MDX because it's not JavaScript. It's actually just rendering things. So Markdoc is stupidly fast. And that's it. There's high and mighty reasons. Like, oh, I have a content team and I want to define all the components available for this Markdoc file so that if we ship it to a CMS, it works. Not many people do that. Not many people do it. But if you're in that group that you need to care about what content editors can and can't use, yeah, you can do this. It's why the Stripe docs use this. But I don't care. I'm just making a blog. Why do I care? I just want to import a component straight into the file. That's what I'm doing. So for people that are using local content, it's hard to justify Markdoc. It is really hard to justify it. It's really hard. You probably want MDX most of the time. I'm just using it to prove a point, I guess. I don't know. As for this, I used 11 and I have absolutely no idea where CodePen would be. What even is it? It's not even a file. What is CodePen? Oh my god. Okay, so go to the 11 file. Oh my god, what a mess this is. What was I doing? I built my own framework just to make this work. I remember making my own framework. Oh, look at this. This was before Slinkity existed. It was called Slinkit. And then SvelteKit was launched, and I realized this name isn't going to work. So I call it Slinkity, just to make it work. Oh, man. What a mess. I was inventing Slinkit as part of this. Real throwback. Absolute throwback. We even had our own live reload script. We had to add it ourselves. CodePen. What the frick? Yeah, 3 years ago. Where is... What? Yeah, there's a shortcode. Where is it defined? Okay, it's over here. It's in render MD, so I invented it here. That is so weird. I'm literally parsing the shortcode myself? Oh my god. Ben, you suck. Why did you do this? Okay, so this was like the progressive enhancement. Kind of. Okay, so you create a paragraph tag. Data user, data slug hash. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say other than I'm glad. We have come so far. We have come so far. Anyone who says, I'll build my own framework, it'll be easier. You are lying to yourself. But have fun. You will learn a ton. You will learn a ton. Okay, so we have data height, default tabs. I don't even know what that means. Oh, the default tab that's open, whether it's like the HTML tab or the JS tab. Okay. We have inline styles. We have data pen title. We have data height. This is probably taken from the CodePen docs or something. We have the height right here. We have the default tab, params.replace. I don't know what params even does, but okay. We replace default tab with nothing. Strange. Don't understand that. Yet, anyways. We have the slug. Okay, I can work with that. Kind of. We pass in the full URL, and then we just use the hash. So why did we pass the full URL in the first place? Good question, right? Okay, so we have height 400. I can do that. Okay, so we go up here. It might be easier to just go look at the CodePen docs and do this from scratch. But, well, at least, I don't know. We'll roll with this for a little bit. So we have height 400. Whoops. Wrong home row. Go back to Mavis Beacon, typing class. Astro props. All right, so we have a height. And we'll say height equals 400. Like that. That seems good. And I really cared about shortcodes so that if I ship this to dev.to, which I don't post there, and I probably never will again, because I just don't blog. I cared about backwards compat, so I didn't want an MDX file where you have to import it directly. Also, it's a real, it really sucks. You have to duplicate. Look at this. You have to duplicate your type interface in Markdoc. You have to write the same props twice, and you have to hope that they match up. Another reason Markdoc is kind of a bitch to use. It is. And there's some things where I'm just like, we fundamentally can't make this better. Markdoc just sucks, and I'm sorry. That's it. There's nothing else I can say. We could crawl your type interfaces. I actually started writing code to do that, and I stopped myself because it was a nightmare, and I just stopped. I just couldn't do it. So we're going to have to duplicate this type interface. That's all I have to say about that. We have the... Oh, no. No. Theme ID dark. Or it should be prefers color scheme or something. I don't know yet. We'll just make it dark mode, and we'll move on. We have default tabs. We have data user biomes dev. That's fine. We have the height that's inserted again. Cool fact, you can put backticks without a wrapper, and it works. Astro is cool. Okay, so that works. Detect current section. Interesting. We have a URL. We have the actual URL. So the URL is constructed from... Okay, so we pass in the full URL, and this is probably the fallback before the script loads. And then we get the slug, data slug hash. Yeah. So this is the code to kind of get the slug out. So we'll say slug is that thing. This is the URL, which is required, and we'll make that a string. And we'll say URL, like so. Been about to start work on Astro Doc. Let's go. Please no. Okay, so we match that, and we just assume it works. We really do not care, do we? All right. Slug matches. We're just going to be really aggressive with this. Yeah. If not slug matches. Yeah. We'll just throw an error to ourselves. I hate how it doesn't do the closing brace correctly. All right. If not, slug matches. Yeah, that thing. Done. Okay, great. And now we'll just take this. Oh, sorry, no $. We'll just say slug right there. And then over here we have URL, like that. And that's it, I think. Oh, we have default tabs. Yeah, so default tabs are going to come in here. Okay, yeah, you're doing a good job checking on that. I think that's correct. Sick. Okay, yeah. And we'll make the default tabs. I think you can just make it empty. I think you can. If you don't have a default tab, CodePen will show something. And I think it should be singular. I don't know why I made it plural. It's just one thing. Oh, dang it. The refactor police. Okay, is that everything? Yes. And this takes you to my profile if you need it. Okay, cool. The next thing is going to be the script, because there is a script that's doing everything. Okay, so we have a CodePen script, and I was really, really aggressive. I actually check on each page whether CodePen is used and only load the script in that case. But we can do that with Astro components. And Markdoc is super smart. It will only load components that are used on a given page, even though it's global. It took so much work to do that. But it will smartly just render the components that are used by a given file, even though it's a global file. If you use Markdoc in any other framework, that will not happen. Pretty proud of that, I'll admit. I just spilled water all over myself. Oh my god. Have you ever, like, miscalculated how much water is in a cup and you just spill it? Jesus. I, like, calibrated to this empty coffee mug and then I totally fucked up. We'll just ignore that. That's nice. Yeah, it is nice that we delete scripts. It's not nice that I spill water all over myself. Okay. Oh, it's just this. Interesting. Okay. I'm literally creating a script tag. I think I'm creating a DOM node. Am I creating a DOM node? Yeah, create element script. Whew, that is low level. Okay. And we do have a Twitter widget. Come to think of it, I think Chris, our boy, Chris, I've never really said his last name. Delushi? Is his last name Delushi? Anyways, Chris did make a plugin to render Twitter to Astro component. I have a new keyboard. I type slow. I feel that. I think I can just do, yeah, script, async. Yeah, I think it's that one. I'm going to make sure it's the same one. Okay, it's called CP Web Assets. I don't know if that's the same, but it looked the same. So I'm just going to go with this. And you can do this in Astro, I'm pretty sure. The script will be treated as if it is inline directive because it contains an attribute. Therefore, features that require processing are unavailable. Absolutely. Just silence this hint. Okay. So attributes like async are ignored. I don't know if this does it asynchronously by default, but I'm hoping it does. Let's find out. Okay, so we have CodePen. We wired it up. I think the last thing we have to do is say attributes, yeah, cool. And we can just duplicate this type interface. It's really annoying I have to do this. Type number, and you can pass the number object or something. Do you have to say, oh, that sucks. It's optional by default. Every API should be required by default. AstroDB does this. Zod does this. Because I hate having to say required for every attribute. Because most of the time, it's required. Most of the time. Here, that happens to be not true. But it should be required by default. That is just how API should work. And I'm pretty sure it's optional. Which is so annoying. Whatever. Okay, moving on. So now we have it set up. This is CodePen, and now we can use it in our Markdoc files. So if I go back here, and, well, let me copy a blog post that actually has a CodePen embed. We have a few. Okay, shiny on hover. This is a good blog post. So this should be a good test case, I think. Oh, let me copy the whole file, actually. So I copy this crazy long URL. Okay. A shiny on hover effect that follows your mouse, CSS. Wow, what do you call these things? Slugs? Okay, so now it's mdoc. It used to have an HTML emblem, and now it doesn't. Weird. Okay, so we can just leave all of these. I think it's fine. And yeah, this is... I point to a URL, and I accidentally deleted my entire account. Well, I didn't accidentally. I purposefully deleted my entire account, and I thought this personal blog repository was just dead code. Turns out this was the storage for all of the blog posts on my website. Oops. So I deleted the banner images for a lot of my blog post. And you might be thinking, but Ben... Well, no one's thinking this, but let me show you. Ben, if I go to one of your blog posts, I done goofed. If you go to the blog post, the image is there. Why is this? Well, let me show you. It is a cached image from 11D image. If anyone's wondered, why don't you update like your GitHub name on your website? Why are you afraid to update your website? It's because if I do, Netlify will bust the cache and delete all of the images. So I literally can't push to main unless I want all my images to break. What a problem. What a problem to have. So we have finally reached the time where we have to bite the bullet, go to all of these images and download them one by one. There's probably smart ways to do it. There's probably smart ways to go to this directory and just download everything. But I don't know how to do that. Because here I have all my pug images. And I would love to just download all of these pug images. Let me see, actually, because I think there's a way to download a dump of your website. And if I do that, I should get a dump of all of the cached images. Right? and then I can just go through and actually do it. Why spend 10 minutes doing this? We can spend an hour writing a fancy script. Exactly. I think it'll take longer than 10 minutes, though. Yep. Okay. There's a pending review on a deploy request because I'm afraid to merge it. Oh, wow. I actually get a lot of emails. Oh my god, there's a bunch of emails. Okay, there's a bunch of junk in here. There's a bunch of junk. Oh no! Someone asked about a podcast. Why do people do this? A coworker asked me about something. This was 23 days ago. Oh boy. I never set up mail forwarding. Why do I have this form? Okay, there's really not that many. Do you have an RSS feed? I do not. Webmaster. Unbelievable offers. Okay, the business world is riddled. This is spam. This is spam. This is spam. This is spam. You discovered a bug. Well, we're redeploying the whole thing. It's impressive. Thank you. Message may be too specific, but oh god, no. It says my sister found and a nice man. We're not going to read the rest of that. Okay, so it's all spam, pretty much. There's one podcast request, though. That's wholesome. Maybe I should reply to that. But the button directs me... Oh, no, my newsletter sign-up might be broken. It directs you to a MailChimp pricing page. Well, my newsletter isn't really live anyway, so I'm okay with it being broken. But, wow, we are really motivated to fix this website. I think that is what I'm learning. I'm pretty sure you can browse to deployed files. We will do that. The problem is, though, all the assets are just hashed URLs. They don't actually tell me what the original image was. So even if I get the dump, I have to sift through and figure out what each thing is. So it's almost as fast to just go to each blog post, click the image, pull it in, and then name it something useful. It's such a mess. Okay, but there's a podcast request here. I feel like people mostly know to, I don't know. Who is this? Does anyone know who Ryan Solomon is? I don't know who he is. Mind Muscle Connection. Is this him? There's no way this is him. No. This is a fitness class. I don't know who this is. Oh, Code Ryan. That might be him. He's a coding guy. I should reply to this man. I will reply to this man. But yeah, let me go back. I mean, anything older than a year. Oh, wait. He messaged me a year ago, and then he sent it again. I'm wondering if he has a bot. I don't know if I trust this. Because this was the same email sent May 28th, 2023. At some point, you click on the Twitter and you direct message. I would think. I don't know. I'm afraid to go back more than a year because what if I missed the best career opportunity? We missed an NFT collection. I really love the look of your website. Thank you, person from the past. As a 15-year-old looking for more in CSS in the classroom, this is amazing. Would love for my website to have the same impact as others, but still got school. Oh, man. That's so wholesome. That's so cute. That is so cute. Okay, this is spam. Most of this is spam. As someone on your blog, in pursuit to move away from Notion, nothing special, just inspired. Keep up the good work. That's really sweet. I feel like I should go back through some of these and just say thank you to the nice, wholesome people. Yeah, none of this is useful. Yeah. Suggestions for Zettelkasten. Ooh, cool. I'm currently experimenting with mobile support. I don't know what this is. Foam plus VS Code. Yeah, I don't like that anymore. I've been using Obsidian for years since that blog post. I talked with Fred and he redirected me to you. Interesting. I'd love to do an Astro about Astro. This was September 2022. All right. Luke Kim. Oh, man. I mean, we've hung out, so it's totally chill. Alexander, way back. Yeah, I responded to him. I joined his little Slack workspace a while ago. Okay, so there's really nothing in here. There is one message from Amy, though, that I definitely want to reply to. I'm absolutely going to reply to her. And yeah, the button about MailChimp, that's good to know. Okay, that was I'm glad I looked at my submissions. I'm glad I looked. There really isn't anything there. I feel like I'm going to delete the contact form from my website. I just don't need it. If you want to reach me, I have an email, and I can probably just redirect to the mail dialogue. I hate having like an online form that just creates an email that's supposed to kick off somewhere. Like, if you're contacting me, Twitter DM is the best way. That is the best way for me. But I did learn recently that Twitter DMs aren't visible unless you have Twitter Premium for some accounts. And it's not like a permission that I set. It's a permission that you set. So maybe Twitter DMs are a mess. Maybe email is the best way. I don't know. My last commit was November 18th, 2022 to add a Mastodon redirect. Sheesh. Sheesh. Okay. But can we... Okay, let's get the dump. Let's get back to business. That was useful. I'm glad I looked at what I did, but yeah, let's get back to business. So we have the site overview right here. We have site configuration. I think we can go to a deploy. Options. No, we have that. We have a preview button. Download. I found a download button. Okay. I also have to use the bathroom. I'm going to take a quick break. Let me put BRB on the board. BRB. And we will see what this dump gives us. Hopefully we can sift through the noise and get our blog post actually rendered again. Twitter's a mess. Who would have thought? Yeah, I know. It's so well managed. What is going on over there? All right. Do I share my screen? I can. But I also just downloaded a dump. Big dump. Let's look at it. Okay, we want to do date added. I don't see it. Why don't I see it? I hit download. Oh, download ready. Weird. Why doesn't it just download right away? I guess it had to process first. All right, we have unzipped. Big deploy. We are looking at a big deployment. We have assets right here. It looks like it dumped it into Pug images. Okay, OG images are something we want. Yeah, we have me and work for that one. We have the Pug images, though. Yeah. So I do know, at the very least, I don't really want these banner images because they don't match my aesthetic anymore. You can see that they're very bright. They have this chunky text right here, but I probably want it for the OG image. So like if you share this as a link, it has something. If you find it on Google, it has something, but I'll probably hide the banner image from the page. I'll just kick it off right with the title and we'll move through it like water. But yeah, what do we have here? Okay, we have all the sizes as well. And I'm just going to take the largest, JPEG. We'll take the largest JPEG for each of these and just put them in. Like if we look at this one, beautiful. I was pretty good with the aesthetic on these. Gotta admit, it's got a nice look to it. See, most of these are just the banner images for the blog post. Oh yeah, the Tower of JS with a pancake. Look at that. Oh, I'm hungry. I want breakfast so badly. Oh, wow. High-res pancake. Oh, squeezing out that accumulator. That is weird phrasing. I don't like squeezing out. It's just like kind of weird. Okay, so we have our source, we have our content, we have our blog. I think I'm just gonna co-locate something in here, images for now, and we'll put all the OG images in there. So I'm gonna take the big JPEGs from each of these, and they're all hashed, so I need to figure out what the name should be, but we can work with it. So we want these for the social images, right? And we'll let Astro Assets just figure out how to make these smaller, nicer, better, faster, stronger. Yeah, there's only 800 for that one. Kind of weird. But that's fine. Okay, so we want that, and that, and that, and that. And there's only an 800 for that one. That. That's the contact form. I don't care about that image. And the OG images for the homepage, that's going to be redone. That's going to be redone. So we probably don't need that asset. Yep. We mostly just want these. Okay. Copy. And paste. Cool. Those should be all the blog post OG images. I don't know how many images are embedded in a given blog post. I really don't know. So we have the OG images. We have SVGs. Okay, those aren't necessary. We have, the actual demos of old projects. That page is unfortunately going away. We might have a secret link that takes you to a deploy, but doesn't have to be there for V1. Doesn't have to be there. Yeah, none of these oh, there's a blog one. Okay. So yeah, there are a few images here. We got to keep that. We've got to keep that. We can't lose this asset. Very important asset right there. I think the rest of the images are coming from, I don't know where they're coming from. Because I know there's other images on this website. Like if I go to, well, one of them is a GIF, right? I know there's at least one GIF in here. Okay, yeah, and I organized it by setup. So yeah, there actually are some in here. I don't think they're optimized. I think I just left them unoptimized and moved on with my life. Respect. And this is awful, by the way. This is so not accessible. Okay, so there's an MD images. It did generate something, actually. But we have the originals, which should make this a little bit easier. Actually, yeah, why am I downloading the optimized versions? Don't I have the originals on here? I just realized I'm an idiot. Because I have all these MD images. Oh, but I need to get these because they were stored on a separate repository because I'm stupid. Right. That's why we were doing what we were doing. Right. Okay, so we need these for sure. We need these. And they're stored at assets, blog, something. It doesn't really matter where they're stored, I guess. Yeah. So these are built-ins. And yeah, we just put them into folders instead of using the raw GitHub content or whatever that mess is. That's fine by me. So we go over here. As long as it works, right? We'll call these banners. And we'll call these images. Right? And we'll paste just these in here. And that should be all the assets we need. Now comes the annoying part of figuring out slugs that make sense for these. I'm just going to type names that feel intuitive for now. I don't know. Yeah, we'll call that Corey CMS's. Get shortcuts. Yeah. Because I remember these posts. JSON GraphQL. This was the weirdest post. It was just me playing with some wild, wild ideas. That's disappearing. Yeah, we don't need that. Oh yeah, HTML tags. I wrote a post about the HTML tags. Poor man's state machine. I remember this article. Just from the images, I'm like, I remember that article. Svelte for new devs. One of my first posts. Svelte carousel. That's a good image, by the way. Can we talk about how good? That's a pretty good image. Because we were talking about a photo gallery, and I was like, what if it's a movie strip with photos 0, photos 1? This is a great image. This is a really smart little image. I like that one. This one is not smart. This one's ugly. What is this one called? What even is this? I don't even know what that's communicating. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to call it CSS variables. I don't know what that is. Mocking global. AOS DOI. It's called scroll DOI. No one knows what AOS means. I don't even know what that is. I think I invented that acronym and said, that's good. No, it isn't. Big second brain, please. Nice. Second brain. Image optimization, I think. Git best practices. Do I still follow them? I don't know. 4 talks. I remember that one. Hamburger menus. Yeah. This one is, oh, me leading a boot camp. We don't need that, but that's cool. How spas work. Using styles. Style lives. Let's just call it that. Shiny effect. Yes. This one is, at least it's over now. What is this one? Oh, I think that was 2020 retro. I think that's what it was. Oh, yeah. Fauna. I did a sponsored blog post. I'm done with sponsored blog posts. They don't, for the hours spent, they don't pay enough. It's just not worth your time. Front of the front end. What is this one? I thought this was my CSS Grid article, but I don't know which one that is. When did I write about that? Oh God, I broke my own layout just by hitting back too quickly. That's how you know it's homespun. If you hit back too many times, you can break it. If you hit back a little bit too quickly, it breaks. Oh man, spas are hard. If you build your own, it is a mess. Yeah, front. Why did I call it that? That doesn't make any sense. Grid. Over Flexbox. Nah, just grid. Drop down menus. Yeah. That was a good one about accessibility. Unbundling your tower of JS. Let's just call it unbundling. I know what that one's about. It's talking about browser stuff. Reduce. This is reduce. Okay, that's everything. That's all my banners. I don't know if that's for every blog post, but it should be for most of them. And then we have these images, which are already well named, so we're good. Oh yeah, and I even put the thumbnail over here, it looks like. So, I didn't need what I did for those blog posts at the very least. Yep, I started organizing them differently. I organized my photos in like 4 different ways throughout the life of the blog. The life was 1 year. I already went through 3 different tech stacks in 1 year. 10x engineer. 100%. Tired Beaver, thanks for coming in and leaving. Appreciate that. I like the hair. Thank you. You're breathtaking. If you didn't have an AOL account, yeah, it's just AOL. America on steroids? Maybe? I think it was as It was like it was for on scroll. So something on scroll. What did I mean? What is AOS? I don't know. And this was my phase of exclamation points and emojis. I'm ashamed how many blog posts go through this phase. It's quite bad. And I said onwards because Cassidy Williams, her newsletter, she said onwards. And I just thought it was fun. So I just said onwards every time. I just stole it because it was cute. I don't know. I had fun with it, okay? Copycat, honestly. Honestly, kind of cringe. Kind of cringe. Now look at this. I had to copy the timestamps for every blog post, and sometimes the years would wrap incorrectly, and I had to figure out what the problem was. I think I just went to a console and typed out new date, and I got whatever it gave me. What a mess! Yeah, nowadays, you can just generate a published date. Dark ages. Dark ages. Okay, but now I think it's time to port all the blog post in. I think our goal is to just make this one render. So let's start there. I have an image and we have some properties. We don't need a layout anymore. We don't need featured. I'm going to hard code whatever is featured because it just makes more sense. We have series. Okay, so I have a series. That was for dev.2. That was for dev.2. I can preserve that information, but totally not necessary. Let's go ahead and add a content config since I think we know the stuff we want. I'll be honest, I haven't used define collection in such a long time. Define collection. How does this work? You pass a schema, right? Schema. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be Z object from the start. Z, yeah, dot object. And we could say title, no, description, Z dot string, series, Z dot string dot optional. I don't know if I'll ever do something with that. Metadata from dev.2 may use someday. Yeah. And image, yeah, image. I think you can use. Don't you like do this? Is this what you do? And you can just say image. Is this actually typed? It is. Oh, that's cool. Does it take anything? Yeah, you can actually say heights and widths and formats, but we'll just use the default behavior. Yeah. Smart cons collections equals what? Beep. Is there any other information? No, I don't think so. And date is just not a thing. I understand why Copilot suggested it, though. So image is going to come from, oh, it's a local path. I think I can just do this. So I can just say // banners, or sorry, _ banners / I'm just being really purposeful with this. And we have 4tox, grid, blah. Where is this? Shiny effect. All right, shiny. I can't type. Shiny effect. JPEG. Cool. Seems good to me. And I could probably move my assets out of... Why are they co-located? It doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense to co-locate these. It really doesn't. Because ideally, they would be next to whatever blog post it is. We could do that, but that would be a lot of refactoring. So we could just make an assets folder that has banners and images. Well, I think images should be co-located with the blog post. I think it should be. Yeah. So let's make a little folder here. Banners? Does that have an icon? Assets. Yeah, we're gonna call it that. So in here we'll call these banners, and we'll move _ banners over there. Yeah. Our boy Rich Hickey. Ooh. I went through my Rich Hickey phase, listened to all of his talks. He's a brilliant man. He is a brilliant man. Okay. And we'll go to our TS config and we'll set up a little alias. Just a little alias in this guy. So we have base, sorry, I think it's in compiler options. Base URL dot Paz, yeah, Paz. And we'll say squiggle boy. That seems right to me. And a little comma right there. Why is this still a problem? Oh, it's an array, isn't it? Or something like that. A comma expected. It's there now. Figure it out. Okay, so now we have that set up. And we can say squiggle assets. No more underscore. Okay, so that should work. That should just work how we expect it to. And if we go down here, oh, look at this. The editor tooling is working. Oh, no, it's not. It's actually telling me that this is broken. Oh, and default tab does take an array. Well, silly me. Can you take an array in... I didn't take an array. I actually took a string and parsed out the commas. But in Markdoc, can you take an array? Can you even do that? I don't even know if you can. But it should work. So we'll just say URL. And the editor tooling should help me here. Okay, it does. Ooh. Ooh. Did you see that? See, that's why I was talking about the editor tooling. Because it's global, it actually works. Sick. So I can type the little thing, and it gives me the little suggestion. I like it. Okay, come on, Copilot. You know what I want. You know what I want. I want this. Okay. And we'll say default. Oh, it doesn't suggest optional things. That's weird. We'll just do that for now. Yeah, that should work. And we're done. And I think we need to do the same refactor for all of these. So let's see here. Okay. Okay, this is getting a little... What do? I can just hit C. Code pen. URL equals that. And I hope that's the same amount of characters. And then we do default tab. I have no idea if that worked. Did that work? Okay, we need to add closing tags. But this should format well, at the very least. Did this format well? Yes. Okay. This looks good. Editor tooling is always great. It's always great. And we have CSS results. Okay, I gotta go to my meeting. I was scraping to the end, but yeah, I think Markdoc will make for a good migration. We got our dump of banners. It's honestly less work than I thought it would be. Since we have most of the original images, a lot of things are on Cloudinary or AWS if they're like embedded images. So we should make quick work of this. I think we'll be able to get all the blog posts ported. Like an hour off camera. Do some mining off camera. But I think I'll be live tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow morning-ish. Maybe 10 a.m. I'll update my Twitch schedule for that. So go to twitch.tv/beyondstev/schedule and drop a follow so you catch it. But yeah, I'll be live tomorrow doing more of this. Hopefully less Markdoc, more Cody code. But we will see. But thanks for keeping me company. As always, y'all are good people. There's a reason I go live. It's just to, have a backseat coder that can catch me when I'm doing stupid things. I'll go ahead and raid our boy Pirate Software. And otherwise, have a nice day, people. Good to have you. All right, we are waiting on the raid. I'm going to pull up my meeting